Hi folks, you know, if I can collect enough bottles and cans, today's show will be broadcast without commercial interruption. Scott, how many do we have?
$3.
$3! All right! Hi, I'm George Derunda, and welcome to Primetime. We're here at the home of the world kielbasa eating champion. We'll be talking with him later in the program. Also on the program, we have actor, singer, dancer, musician, magician, Scott Ellis. That's like 5 people with the kielbasa eating champion. That's like 6. For most programs, that would be more than enough. Not for us here on Primetime. We also have Golden State Warriors basketball coach Garry St. Jean. So let's head out to the St. Jean Summer Mansion on Cape Cod. My first guest on the program now makes his home in Alameda, California. He is originally from Chicopee. We're here at his summer home here on Cape Cod. He is Garry St. Jean. Garry, welcome to Primetime, the big show. pleasure to be here. It's Lakeside.
Here you are, George, on Crystal Lake in Orleans, down on Cape Cod. We've come a long way from Chicopee, Massachusetts, haven't we?
I remember your older home right next door. Things certainly have changed.
Many moons ago. George, you and I go way back when I used to be a teacher at Chicopee High School with Jim Caveney, and you were one of our favorite PE students, and you used to frequently visit us down in our office. We'd have many a good laugh, and I remember when you were playing some of your gigs down here that you'd stop by and see us over here at my little place that I used to have, and it's
grown
a little bit. Yeah, we've been fortunate. We've had another place here on the lake, and then we were fortunate to have some land, and we've recently built a new place, and we're very, very happy with our new home.
So how did it all start? You're now with the Golden State Warriors, and you kind of made the change in a different way than most people. You went right from high school coaching into pro. I believe you were a scout for a while, and then now you're a coach.
George, it's been a dream. It's like taking a ride on the big carousel and just having it all happen. You know, as you know, going back to our Chicopee days, I was fortunate to coach the team there at Chicopee High for 8 years, and at that point, they were the finest years of my life. I loved going back to my alma mater, and there were so many influential people there. And then I had the opportunity to work at a basketball camp that only took place because of our success as a team. We were taken to Boston by one of the local state representatives who gave us a tour of the State House, took us to a Celtic game, and I got to meet Don Nelson. And I worked at his camp, and he previously said, hey, I'd like you to bring some of your players to the camp. And I said, well, you know, I don't know if they can afford to come. I said, but I'd love to come. And we established a relationship, and 10 years ago he offered me a position to come scouting. I thought about it for about 6 seconds and said yes. And,
didn't take you long, did it?
Not long. And then I scouted for only half a year, and then he offered me a coaching position. And stayed with him in Milwaukee for 6, and then I went to the Nets in New Jersey for 2, and now I'm back out with Don Nelson, starting my 2nd year out there with him, and it's been nothing but a dream. It's just, I feel like I'm a very, very fortunate person to say to you that I'm doing something that I love. It's not a job.
It's like a dream come true.
It really is. People say, geez, don't you want to be a head coach and don't you want to do this? I said, hey, I was happy as a good old clam being the coach at Chicopee High, and here I am now sitting every night in front of 16, 17,000 people, or better yet, coming back to Boston and sitting on the bench and against the Boston Celtics, and I get a cold chill down my spine every time I walk in that building. So I still have very close roots to back here in Massachusetts, and I guess the highlights of my summer are when people from Chicopee do stop by and say hello.
What kind of a guy is Don Nelson to work for?
George, he's a unique individual. He was a, to use the phrase, he was a winner as a player. Played on 5 championship teams with the Celtics, and I've been with him a long time, and the guy has all the qualities it takes to be a successful coach. Take it a step further, and he's a master preparation person. He delegates responsibility to his assistant coaches very, very well, and he has a tremendous love for the game. He's a master technician coaching the game. As you sit on the bench during the course of the game, it's fast and many changes take place. He makes you play the style of play that he wants to play. He'll play a small lineup and you're playing a big lineup, and he makes you play at his pace. If he continues to stay on the bench, I think he's destined for the Hall of Fame in that little town next door to our big city of Chicopee. What is that name? Springfield.
Yeah, some place called Springfield, just down the river.
Down the river.
Now you're really dealing with the cream of the crop, and they've been through all the best programs, high school, college, as you yourself have been a product of those institutions. Do you ever run into ego problems, like, what can this guy show me?
Absolutely, George. It's a big problem, and I think, George, you hit on one of my pet peeves about professional sports. And maybe that's why I love to see everybody, from my old friends from Chicopee. It's a big problem, and you've got to deal with it. And I think, having been a teacher and dealing with young people, as an assistant coach, one of my responsibilities is to talk to young players and say, hey, let's put things in perspective now. This is why the coach isn't pleased at what you're doing. You've got to do this to change. Your attitude has to change. You can't play cool. You got to come out there and give 100%. If you don't do that, you're going to stay right here in the little doghouse, and you're not going to play. So we do see the players in that instance. And I'm sorry to say that some of my peers in the coaching profession grow to have big egos. And today is my 5th anniversary. Got married kind of late in life. I've got a beautiful wife, and as you've kidded me many times, I did overachieve. She's a great woman. I've got a daughter now, and nothing's more important to me than them. And I see some of my friends just get totally engulfed with the game of basketball on the professional level. And I think, as you noted, it's very important to keep things in perspective. It can get totally blown out of proportion very easily.
Do you find that once a player signs a lucrative contract for like $1 million a year or whatever the numbers may be, do you find after that point he says, I've made it, I've got my contract, maybe I don't have to work quite as hard?
It's a great question. I think in all walks of life, whatever you're doing, you're going to find people who get satisfied and no longer have the desire to strive for excellence. And as you noted, George, there's people making phenomenal dollars in the professional sports world. The average salary in our league now has risen to up over $550,000 a year for the players. And you do find players that get content, and yet the great thing is that you still find players that even though the people are making this kind of money and are going to be set for the rest of their life, you do find guys who keep things in perspective and have the desire to produce. They have pride. There are phrases that we use, and one of them is a winner. And a winner is Larry Bird. A winner is Magic Johnson. These are special people, and it's the same thing in the business world, except that, we're almost, as you look at the pro sports world, it's part of an entertainment business. And these guys are making this big money because their careers, on the average, only last 3 or 4 years. The long-time career is a 10-year career, but you're 100% right. It is a problem that has to be constantly dealt with, because we lose sight of the fact that when a guy comes to us, he's only 23 years old. And sometimes you got to sit him down and say, hey, we got to think about what we're doing here. Let's get things on the right path and get our lives in order. We sit down once in a while and have a little discussion.
Now, what's your first day of practice like for you? Do you yell a lot? Do you have problems with guys coming back from their hiatus?
Really, George, nowadays the players come back in shape. They used to use training camp as a tool to get in shape for the regular season. Nowadays they can't afford to do that. And there are days we have to raise our voice and get a little stern, but by and large, they know what's expected of them, and a veteran staff doesn't have to be as vocal. If anything, we're trying to be positive and trying to build upon the teaching process, because a coach is nothing but a teacher on the basketball floor. You've got to be able to deal with the players out there, be it a time that needs some stern talking to, or whether it be a time that a guy needs a pat on the fanny. Every individual is different, and you handle each individual different. And in the same sense, as a team, you know when to give them a day off, when to push them hard. Nellie refers to it as knowing when to run the horses hard.
Okay, you're married, you have a lovely wife, a daughter, and I understand another papoose on the way. How did you meet your wife? Because you were already traveling in the business.
Well, this sounds like a basketball story, but we had played the Boston Celtics, and I was on a flight on American Airlines with Wayne Embry out of Boston to Dallas on our way to the NCAA Finals in Albuquerque. We got on the plane, and we were fortunate to be flying up in first class, and there was a good-looking flight attendant who wasn't working the flight. She was just seated there. And of course, Wayne Embry's about 6'9", about 280 pounds, so when he tells me something to do, I used to do it promptly. He pointed like this, he says, "You sit next to her." So I looked and I said, okay. So I sat there and he sat behind me. Of course, conversation starts, and where are you from? And she was from Concord, Massachusetts, a graduate of University of Massachusetts, majored in PE, captain of the Concord High girls basketball team. Talk some more, and of course, we're getting off the plane, and I said, this girl's special. I said, I need to get in contact with her again. And so I said, when we play the Celtics again, give me a call and come to the game. Well, I forgot to call her, but she called me and wanted 2 tickets. I said, no, you only get 1, because I don't want you bringing some other guy with you. You're going to have to come and see me later after the game for a bite to eat. Well, there started our relationship, and Mary Jane and I got married about a year after that, and we have a daughter, Emily, who's 2.5, and we're just ecstatic about our new addition that's going to be arriving in January, and it's fulfillment of my dreams in life. You know, the basketball's been tremendous to me, but you come home and have a great wife and a daughter, and with God's will, another healthy child. I feel like I'm a real lucky guy.
Do you keep in touch with some of the people back in town in Chicopee that were influential in your early career?
There were a lot of influential people that had a bearing on my life as I grew up. You know, I left Chicopee, and there were a crew of people that I just felt like were very, very special friends. You know, I'm sure I'm going to forget a few, and I had a number of guys that coached on our staff that I thought were great people and had a great deal of success, one being Mike Thompson. But people like Ronnie Nazankowitz and John Badinkowitz and Ted Tremblay and Richie Janilevitz, and of course a guy that I taught with at Chicopee for 7 years, Jimmy Caveney, who's one of my special friends. Those are the guys that I really stay in close touch with, of course also with my family, and it's I think that I might have more friends than I realize when we play Boston, George, because all of a sudden I get about 50 calls for tickets. But those guys love to come down to the games, and we get together down here, down the Cape, and I'll call them, and they keep me abreast of what's going on back home. And you know, you can be in the NBA for a lot of years, and I've had 10 great years, but I know if I ever have a problem in life and I need a hand, I know I can call those guys, and they know they're only a phone call away from me, and those are some of the closest people in my life, and I still cherish their friendship.
Well, for a guy who's done it all, where do you see yourself 5, 10 years from now? Do you think you'll be doing the same thing?
George, I've achieved the goals that I really wanted to in my life in terms of career. And again, if I have an opportunity to become a head coach in this league, so be it. But I think I'm just trying to put one foot in front of the other. I also have some thoughts about going into the front office, be it player personnel or general manager. If those take place, terrific. But as I said before, I'm taking them nice and slow, one step at a time.
Well, Gary, it certainly has been a pleasure to have you on Prime Time and to have us down here at your fantastic home. I have never seen a home that looks like this in my life.
Well, it's been a lot of fun, and this has got to be one of the highlights of my summer, to get together with you again and talk a little bit about my past and present and future. And you're looking slim and trim, and I bet you're still playing a mean tune.
I certainly am. That keeps me busy. Well, thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure.
And we'll see you again next summer. Maybe another update interview.
That's good. We'll have the family on then.
So stay with us. We'll be back with more Prime Time after this.
And the drive shaft's connected to the axle, and the wheels go round and round. Boom!
The library. Know-how, no charge.
My next guest is an actor, singer, dancer, musician, magician, and he's also a songwriter. And his latest release, called A Perfect Song, here to perform In Your Heart, is Scott Ellis.
Watches down from above, feel his love. He will always love you, no matter what you do. Just turn and come back to him again. He will never feel alone.
Scott, welcome to Primetime.
Thank you.
Sounded great.
Thank you. Welcome to my living room.
This is your living room. And the songs, you wrote every song on that album.
Yes, I did. It took me about 3 years to write them all, so it'll be a while before we come out with another one.
And how did you get interested in writing songs? And are they all Christian songs?
Yes, I did write all the songs. All the songs are based on Christian ideas or things that the world is going through, like peace in the world. And then a lot of them have just a lot to do with having a relationship with God. And so therefore they all are Christian, but they're not heavy Christians. Sometimes people will listen to my music and I'll have to tell them that it's Christian, and then once I do that, they can find where it was based on a Christian idea.
Now that one sounded a little bit like Willie Nelson. Maybe you'll be writing some country music soon. Who knows?
Willie Nelson. Well, when I set out to write it, I didn't aim to sound like him or have a sound like that.
Well, you certainly don't sound like Willie Nelson.
Thank you. That is a compliment. I will take it that way.
The song was the Willie Nelson style, kind
Yeah,
of.
Really, I don't go after one certain style. Basically, I don't even go over if I want a fast song or a slow song. It's just however the song comes out, whatever the idea progresses to be, that's how the song comes out, and that's what it would sound like. So my next one may sound like John Bon Jovi.
Now you also do magic. What can you show me? Do you have a little trick? And we even have this balloon here. What's this all about?
Well, I'll tell you what. You put the balloon down. You want to see a magic trick?
I want to see a magic trick.
You got $100?
Wait a minute. What, this is going to cost me?
Magicians don't run cheap. Do you have $100? If you want to see a trick, give me $100 and we'll see what we can come up with.
This guy certainly isn't cheap.
You have $100. I like this.
This is costing me here.
Okay.
A brand new crisp $100 bill.
$100 bill.
I don't know. Now wait a minute. What's going to happen with this $100 bill?
Well, we're going to talk about that right now. First thing I'm going to do is, you know that no two $2 bills, $20 bills, $100 bills, no two bills in the world have the same serial number. So what we're going to do is to make this different from any other $100 bill. We're going to read the serial number off it. We're going to give people at home just a second to get all their pencils and papers. Good. And now we're going to read the serial number off of it. Here we go. It is E435223115A. Okay, now what we're going to do, we're going to fold this $100 bill up.
He's folding the $100 bill up. I wish it were a dollar bill.
You can even see that it has 100. Now, I have an envelope, and we're going to put the $100 bill inside the envelope. Now, do you happen to have a lighter for me?
A lighter?
Yeah, I need a lot of things to do this trick.
Why do we need a lighter? What's going to happen here?
Do you have a lighter?
I have a lighter. No.
He can give me a $100 bill, but he can't give me a lighter. Now, do you have any training in the martial arts?
Of course.
You do?
Yeah.
Oops.
Oh, wait, I don't think I like this part. He's burning my money.
It's okay. I've done this before. It didn't work, but I've done this before.
Have you escaped alive?
This isn't burning very well. You have like non-flammable money.
I've planned it that way.
I'll bet. Okay. Let's try and torch this up a little bit. And, well, what did you think of that? Good? Okay, do you have any more questions about
so far?
Any questions more about the album? You want to talk about that for a while?
Wait a minute. Well, where's the $100 bill? You burned it.
It's right here. You wanted it back?
I don't care about the album. I want my money back. What kind of a trick is that? I can do that, folks. I'm a magician. I can do that much.
You wanted this back?
I wanted that back.
Why didn't you tell me before I burnt it? That's impossible now. All right, I have an idea.
This is a costly program.
Now, this balloon that I brought with me has something in it. Listen. And I will bet you, you hope, that inside this balloon is your $100 bill. Could you please pop the balloon?
In here is my $100 bill.
Pop the balloon,
But you just
please.
burned my $100 bill.
Pop the balloon, please. Now, there should be around, if it fell around. Okay,
I
you
have
got
it. I
now,
have it.
look
Yes.
just show it folded up right now and see that it is money, and if you could just open it up and read the serial number so that everybody can see that it is your $100 bill.
Hold it. When I said I wish it were a $1 bill, I wish you started with a 1, but this is not a $100 bill. Sorry.
Oops. Sorry.
You just burned my $100 bill!
Wait a minute. This is one of those tricks that works 1 out of 10 times. I guess you can call yourself lucky. All right. How about if we try...
You're not too lucky right now.
Oh, boy. How about if we try just... we'll try a little better. Okay? We're going to go for just a little better here, and we're going to fold up the $1 bill, and we'll hope that we do a little better. Okay, here we go. There's your $1 bill. Folding it up here. And now if we could just unfold it again, you can see that it had, well, it is a little better.
I don't like this.
We have now a $10 bill. That's a little better. Sorry, that's the best I can do.
This better not be the best you can do. We start out with I know you just burned the 100. Now you give me a 10. What good is this? What kind of a trick is that?
It's one that's not going too well on your part. You want to try a little better?
I hope so.
We're going to try
This is a 90. We're down to a $90 show.
Hey, we're getting better, aren't we? Leave me alone. I'm going to fold up the $10 bill, and now you can see that if we vanish the $10 bill.
Oh, wait a minute. Open the hand.
The $10 bill is gone. The $10 bill is gone. Now, George.
Now I have nothing.
Now, wait a minute. Where did you give me the $100 bill from?
From my wallet.
Go back to the source.
Let me go back to the source.
Go back to your wallet right now. Go back to your wallet.
This guy doesn't
Have I touched your wallet at all through this trick?
No, he hasn't. I've had my wallet in my pocket. This guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Could you take out a $100 bill? Do you have a $100 bill?
I have a $100 bill.
You do have a $100 bill. Could you read the serial number to everybody at home so that they can check their number? Go ahead.
E435221315A.
That's your money. Thank you very much. You can return to your seat now.
Return to my seat now. Yes, the amazing Scott Ellis.
Thank you.
Well, Scott, it's been a pleasure having you here on Primetime.
Thank you.
And best of luck with the album, and do come back and see us once in a while.
I will. Okay, thank you very much.
And we'll be back with more Primetime after this.
Help conserve our forests. To find out what you can do, write to Forests, National Wildlife Federation, Washington, D.C. 20036.
My next guest is the world's kielbasa eating champion. He's been champion for 4 years. He is John Lesniak. Yes, John, welcome to Primetime. Pleasure to have a champion. Are you an Olympic champion?
Not that I know of.
Do you think this will ever become an Olympic event, kielbasa eating?
Well, that's a good question. Most of the fellas, I believe, I would hurt if I keep on eating.
Well, what do you do to train to eat this amount of kielbasa?
Well, I have a very good appetite.
There's no training. You're just like a natural.
Natural, yes, sir.
Now, what's the most kielbasa that you've ever eaten in one sitting?
I believe this year I ate 5 pounds, 0.7 ounces.
5 pounds and 7 ounces.
Kielbasa, yes. In 45 minutes, though.
Only 45 minutes. Well,
if we had more time, I would have been able to eat more, yes.
Now, you're not a very big guy.
Well, I do a lot of walking, that's why.
You kind of burn it up.
Yes. I ate my sister out of my own house because she couldn't afford to feed me anymore.
Now, what do you like on your kielbasa? Do you like mustard, horseradish?
No, I'll eat just plain.
Plain kielbasa?
Plain kielbasa, yes, sir.
And to eat these amounts of kielbasa, you certainly must enjoy it.
I do. I might give up 1 year because I don't want to hurt nobody. I want somebody else to win so they won't feel hurted. So, like, if I don't go next year, I'll go the following.
Because if you entered every year, you could clearly win this contest every year.
And yes, and then nobody would want to go into the contest anymore. The contest would be over.
Well, John, it's been a pleasure having you here on Primetime. And I'd like to wish you the best of luck in all of your future kielbasa eating contest endeavors.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank all of my other guests, Gary St. Jean and Scott Ellis. And I want to remind you to join us next time on Primetime when we'll have professional wrestling legend Killer Kowalski along with Chet and Mary Lou Dragon. Thanks for watching. Good night, everybody.